Hello world, Shelly here, and it's time for your Friday foundation fix on a Wednesday this week. I've got a twofer for you. I'm going to check out the Pure 4-in-1 foundation stick and their no filter blurring photography primer. These both were sent to me in PR, complimentary from Pure, the complexion authority, and we're going to take them for a test drive and see how they work on this mug. Now, I am on Ulta's website right now because that's where I prefer to look at reviews and things. I like third-party sites to get my reviews, and this currently is getting 3.8 out of 5 stars. Ironically, both products are getting 3.8 out of 5 stars with 49 reviews, and the foundation retails for $34. You get 0.3 ounces of product. We will talk about that in a second. The new thing, the big news about this foundation is that it now comes in 24 shades, but I can only find 17 shades on Ulta's website, and I can only find 21 shades on Pure's website, so I'm not sure where the other 3 shades are, but there are supposed to be 24 shades of this foundation, and I've got it in the shade Porcelain, which, at least according to the shades I can see, appears to be the second lightest shade in the collection. Let's look at some of what they claim about this foundation. It's a Pure 4-in-1 foundation stick. It's a cream to velvet matte stick that creates a flawless illusion. The 4-in-1 medium to full coverage foundation can be used as highlighter or contour cream and is enclosed in a sleek octagonal stick. Super sleek. Thumbs up on the packaging. It's cute. Formulated with age-defying Keratin complex and skin-nourishing energy complex to help color correct and brighten the appearance of uneven skin tone, retain hydration, reduce the look of pores and dullness, and protect against environmental stressors, skin fatigue, and signs of aging. Now, this also won a Teen Vogue 2018 award. Teen skin is a whole lot different than 44-year-old skin, so we're going to see how it holds up on more mature skin. Let's look at the claims for this primer. Retails for $33. You get 0.5 ounces of product. Moisturize, color balance, prime, and illuminate skin in one step. It's got prismatic blurring micro pearls to help color correct while age-defying skincare ingredients nourish the skin. Vitamin-rich energy complex with moisturizing agave and essential fatty acids prep the skin for makeup application. Loaded with essential oils like coconut, olive, and shea. A drop of this into your foundation will result in a dewy yet shine-free finish. Boost radiance, masks imperfections, picture perfect complexion. All right, that's a lot of information. Let's talk a little bit about a couple different things. First thing I want to say about the primer, it does have essential oils in it. I do not have very sensitive skin. My skin's pretty much okay with anything I torture it with. Now, some people are sensitive to essential oils. They can be aggravating to very sensitive skin. So if you are sensitive to essential oils, I would avoid this primer. I'm generally not sensitive to anything, so I do not anticipate having a problem with that. The second thing I want to talk about is price. Now, the foundation, you get 0.3 ounces of product. Now, that might seem scary when you think about the fact that a typical liquid foundation is 1 fluid ounce of product, and price-wise, these are about the same. But let's not think of it that way. Let's compare apples to apples. I looked up a few other stick foundations, some of which I've tried, some of which I have not, and this one ranks pretty high up there on price. So it's $34 for 0.3 ounces, and if you, just to put everyone on an even playing field, I converted the prices to 1 ounce of product. This would be $113 if it was 1 ounce of product. I only found 2 stick foundations more expensive than that, one of which is the Hourglass Vanish Stick, which comes out to $184 an ounce. That is a fantastic stick foundation. I love it. The Tarte Clay Foundation Stick comes to $122 an ounce approximately. That's pricey because on the other end of the spectrum, you've got, for example, the Anastasia Beverly Hills Stick Foundation comes out to $78 per ounce. The Makeup Forever Stick Foundation, you get a bunch of product, 0.44 ounce of product it comes out to $97 per ounce. So $113 per ounce. This is on the higher end. So that said, I'm going to expect higher end performance. Same issue going on with the primer. Most of my drop primers that are like this have 1 ounce of product, double the amount of product at this same price point. So these are not inexpensive products when you look at the price per ounce, you're paying a fairly high end, you know, closer to the luxury end of high end than just the prestige end of high end. So just want to put that out there. I know a lot of people don't care about the price per ounce. I do care about the price per ounce, so I always calculate it. Let's take a look at this Pure Stick Foundation swatched against a few others in my collection. It is time to swatch. First up, today's foundation, the Pure 4-in-1 Stick Foundation in shade Porcelain. Second, I've got the Hourglass Vanish Stick in Alabaster. The third swatch is also Hourglass Vanish in the shade Shell. Fourth is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place in 1C1 Cool Bone. And last, I've got the MAC Studio Fix Fluid in shade NW10. Okay, we are starting out with a 44-year-old face. I've got some sun damage, fine lines, and large pores that I like to minimize. My skin is normal to dry this time of year, really more on the dry side. I'm starting to get some dry flakes on my eyes. That should not impact the primer or the foundation, but it's a thing. Let's check out this primer. So we've got a dropper. This looks to be a sort of milky concoction if I had to describe it to you. They say 1 drop mixed in with your foundation will give you a dewy complexion. I'm going to use it as a primer. I'm going to shake it up a little because it seemed a little odd. Yeah, that's better consistency. Shake your bottle first. Let's put some of this on a palette just to see what it looks like. I won't use all of this, but this is definitely white. It's got a pearlescent kind of sheen to it. Oh, definitely a sheen. Do you see the difference? Yeah, there's definitely this is going for the dewy complexion kind of a look. Of course, we're using a matte stick foundation, so we will see how that impacts the finish of the foundation. Feels nice applying. It has sunk into the skin quite quickly. It does not feel greasy at all. I feel like I've got just a teeny bit of that sort of tackiness that I like when I put a primer on, because I feel like it gives the foundation just something a little bit more to stick to. You know, the more silicone-y based kinds of primers, sometimes my foundation feels like it slides around. Don't get me wrong, I love me some good smooth silicones, but this one feels nice. I'm okay with this. I have already cleansed, moisturized, sunscreened my face underneath all of what's about to happen. Let's take a look at this beautiful packaging. It's got a little protective cover on. I like these for travel because sometimes the containers tend to start twisting while you're traveling and then they smash into the lid, and that's just bad. It's bad. I'm curious, how much product is in here? How high can I get this thing? So there you go. That is all of the product. I'm going on one side of my face with a sponge. This is from Sephora. I bought it because the packaging had cute owls on it. And this is the Sigma F80 Kabuki brush, flat top Kabuki. ThaTaylaa finally convinced me to buy one, and we're going to try it out. I'd say pretty light coverage with one pass, maybe high light coverage, but I'm getting really nice decrease in redness. You can tell from one side to the other. The finish is quite skin-like at initial application. I do tend to feel like sponges are harder to blend out stick foundations in a lot of cases, and this wasn't super hard to blend out, but it was a little bit tough to blend out, so I think I'm probably going to prefer the brush. Let's test that theory. I think it was just a little bit easier to blend out with a brush, but I think the overall look afterward is the same, so if you have a preference, sponge or brush, I think you are fine either way. I do still see some redness coming through under my eyes. Coverage, I would say, is high light at one pass. They say this is buildable medium to full coverage. I just want to try to get a little bit more coverage on my sunspots and on this little sort of, I don't even know what this is that's starting to show up on my face. Isn't aging awesome? It's clinging just a tiny bit to the texture between my eyebrows, but let's see if we can kind of even things out just a little bit. All right, let's call the Simple Human Mirror into action here. 10x magnification does not lie, people. This looks a little bit heavy. I'm going to try to get some of the heavy look off with a little bit of pouncing with the sponge just to see if I can get it to blend and press into my skin a little better. This is kind of doing exactly what I feared when I saw the Teen Vogue award. On the smooth areas of my face, it looks very smooth. It looks very blurring, very smooth. The good areas of my pores look blurred, but on other spots like my nose, it's either skipping over my pores or it's sort of accentuating them. The other thing that's happening is in some spots, the product is just sitting on top of the skin and not blending in with the skin. It's definitely clinging to the texture in between my eyebrows, and it is already starting to settle into my crow's feet lines, which I do not have significant crow's feet yet. So when things settle into those very fine lines, it makes me a little nervous, you guys. It makes me a little nervous. I feel like my smile lines and my wrinkles on my lip are a little bit accentuated. It's kind of gathering on my upper lip. It is not settling, and it has already sunk into the chin lines under my chin. So, not the greatest start. I've only tried one other pure foundation, and it was the All foundation, and the experience I ended up having with that, it scored a C-, and it had looked beautiful in some spots and very heavy in other spots, and it settled into all my lines. So far, that's kind of what I have happening right here. It looks beautiful in some spots. It is really sort of heavy and sitting on top of the skin in other spots, and it is settling into my lines and clinging to textures. So that is sort of the situation at the moment. Let's check the time. I don't know where my phone is. Let's use the iPad. It is 1:36 p.m. Let's call the check-in time 1:30 just so I don't forget what time it was. And let me go put the rest of my face on. I'll be right back. And we're back. I did end up setting this foundation lightly with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish because it still felt a little bit tacky even after I waited a couple minutes, and I didn't want to have any trouble blending on top of it. The heavy areas have sort of melted down into my skin a little bit. It doesn't look as heavy as it did when I first applied it. If this was not a review day, I would probably go in with a setting spray just to try to get that last bit of just cohesion to get everything to kind of melt together. But the heaviness is not as bad as it was when I first applied it. It is looking more cohesive now than it was initially. I did not have any trouble blending concealer, and I used the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Away concealer. Once I put a little powder on, I had no trouble blending bronzer. I'm wearing the Balm Desert. I love the shade of this. It's too dark for me in the wintertime like now, but I don't care because I love the undertone. So far, so good. I think it's not looking perfect on mature skin. I am having some settling issues, and I'm having some clinging to texture issues, but we're in a better place than I was a little worried there for a minute. We're in a better place. I think we're looking okay right now. And on the rest of my face, so I have no blush because I don't know, I just didn't want to put blush on. Of course, well, here's the deal. I was trying to go with a basic face. This was all supposed to be just bronzer in the crease, mascara, end of story, but I don't know how we end up here, guys. I don't know. Natasha Denona Super Glow because I will never not wear my highlights. My eyes are the Kat Von D Lolita palette, which I really enjoyed. I used like 6 shades out of it, except this shade was a little bit patchy, but otherwise, all the mattes blended out really beautifully. I'm wearing the Stila Glitter and Glow in the shade Fairy Tale. That is on my lids. I'm also trying another product I received in PR, and I've used it a couple times now. It is from Kevyn Aucoin. This was sent to me complimentary of Kevyn Aucoin Beauty, and it's the Expert Mascara. This retails for $29. When I saw it, the wand made me go like, what? it's got this really bushy center, and then the underside has these, you know, tiny little flat bristles. And it's a formula that is supposed to give you both length and volume and lift. I am very much enjoying this mascara. I would liken it to the Butter London Double Decker in the way that it separates that thick bulbous part of the brush. You can almost, you know how when you're brushing your hair, like your hair on your head, you're pulling the brush through and you can kind of feel that little tug on your hair, not a tug like a snarl, but you can feel the comb like going through your hair. That little bulbous part of the brush on the mascara, you can feel it pulling through your lashes in just the right places because it's kind of center, you know, it's gathered toward the center of the eye. So you get that sort of million lash look, but I think this does more lifting and more lengthening than the Butter London. And you guys know the Butter London is one of my favorite mascaras. So I'm going to keep playing with this one. We will see if it ends up making it into a future favorites video, but I am thoroughly enjoying this mascara so far. And that is, oh, my lip is a NYX Butter Gloss. Oh, where is it? Here it is. I had the little advent calendar and I got a bunch of these little tiny guys. It is in the shade Glazey Days. So that's what's going on right now. I am going to go have some lunch. I will be back with a daylight check-in in a little bit, and I'll come back at the end of the night, give you guys my final thoughts. Hey guys, daylight check-in here. It has been exactly 3 hours at this point, and I am outside, currently in the shade. I think I'll be able to step into direct sunlight in a second, but I just wanted to show you at this point, I'm having really obvious and significant product breakdown and separation, especially around my mouth and around any movement lines that I've got. It's separating and breaking apart, and then on my cheek up here I am starting to get polka dot pores where the product is sinking into my pores. I think at a conversational distance it doesn't look bad at this point, but up close it's already breaking down on me, and it's only been 3 hours. I think the color match is pretty much spot on perfect for me. So if you are paler than me, this was not the lightest shade, so you may find a match in one of their lighter shades. Color match I think is really good, but it's breaking down already. Let me step into the light and see how this goes. Oh yeah, here's some sunlight. There we go. So here is direct sunlight. Almost direct. And back in the shade. I'm facing the sun, but I've got it sort of, the wall is blocking it. You can see it right there. So that's where we're at the 3 hour mark. Not going so well, you guys. I'll be back tonight with my final thoughts. Okay, 9:09 p.m. We are almost at the 8 hour mark. Let's take a look at how these products held up. I'm going to start with the primer. I like the primer. I like the finish under makeup. I think it would be effective at, you know, giving a luminosity underneath a foundation. It did kind of tone down the matte finish of this particular foundation, which it did it in a very pretty way. I like that it was slightly tacky, so I feel like foundation grips better to it. I'm going to guess that the breakdown in the foundation was not caused by the primer, because logic would dictate that two products from the same company in the same product line probably were formulated to work together, so I'm not going to blame the product breakdown on the primer. I'm going to continue to use the primer. I like it. If I find anything different when I use it with other foundations, I will keep you guys updated, but that would come in a future foundation follow-up video. But I'm going to go thumbs up on the primer. Let's talk about the 4-in-1 stick foundation. Love the packaging. Love this particular color match. 24 shades, if you can actually find 24 shades, is a decent range. I like that there are shades fairer than I am, and there were quite a few in the medium to deep end of the spectrum as well, so thumbs up to all those things. I love the stick format. I think it's a great option for portability and ease of application. What I don't like is the formula. It doesn't work on me. Let's take a look close up and talk about this thing. So, you know that at the 3-hour mark, things were starting to break down, and at the almost 8-hour mark, product around my chin is just completely separated. All of the dynamic wrinkles, all of my motion lines around my mouth have product separation happening. The foundation is just gunking up on my upper lip. It's just pooling together and settling in very unattractive ways. The nose, I have not blown my nose or anything today. I am starting to get polka dot pores on my nose and significant product wear away around my nostrils. My cheeks, blush bronzer, I didn't wear blush today. Bronzer highlight, still intact, but my cheeks are very dehydrated. I am getting all of the drag lines of dehydrated dry skin. So this did not perform as a hydrating formula on me. I am getting settling. It settled into my chin lines. It is settling into the fine lines of my crow's feet, which really aren't even quite fine lines yet. So when product settles into those, I consider it a very settly product. The texture between my eyebrows, well, it's still being emphasized. You can kind of see dry patches and texture, but it's also worn off quite significantly around that area. My forehead looks okay, except it does look significantly dehydrated. I'm seeing lots of micro wrinkles that I typically can't see. So if I had to give a grade to the Pure 4-in-1 Stick Foundation, here's the thing. If you've got smooth skin and not very much going on in the way of fine lines, dynamic lines, wrinkles, etc., you might have better luck with this. If you have oily skin, you might have better luck with this. They do claim it's a matte foundation, and oftentimes matte foundations dry out my already tending toward dry skin, so I don't think this was made for me. My grading process is based on maturing skin, you know, the 30 to 40 plus skin type, and dry skin. So with those things in mind, it's a fail. It's a high F. It's not unwearable. Like, I think you could make it work for a couple hours. Like, it looked kind of nice in the beginning, but that's not something I need my makeup to last 14 hours. I can't deal with a 2-hour foundation. It's just not something that I'm going to do, considering that the price is pretty far on the high end for a prestige brand. It's a high F, but it's a fail for me. I will not be reaching for this one in the future. That's not to say it won't work for you. Everybody's body chemistry, skin types are all different. Take this as information that may or may not help you, depending how similar you are to me. There ya have it. That's my take on the Pure 4-in-1 and the primer. Thumbs up on the primer, thumbs down on the foundation. And there's your Friday foundation fix on a Wednesday. If you haven't checked out my website yet, I have a ranked, sortable, searchable spreadsheet that has all of the foundation reviews that I've done. I've done over 120 foundation reviews. They're all cataloged in that spreadsheet. You can search it. So if you just want to see high-end, you just want to see cruelty-free, you just want to see hydrating foundations, you just want to see smoothing foundations or blurring foundations, or you name it, I give a whole list of suggested words to search. You can narrow it down by those. They all have the scores and the rankings, so you can tell compared to other foundations how they did. I have links to the reviews, all that good stuff. It is all in that master spreadsheet. So check that out on geekoutofwater.com. It is free for you to use, and I hope it's helpful to you guys. As always, thanks a lot for taking some time out of your day to geek out over makeup with me. Come back every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time when I upload new videos, and click the notification bell if you would like to be notified. I also have a community page. Just go on my Geek Out of Water channel page, click the community tab at the top. I post polls, I post like information and things that aren't quite related to this, but kind of. So I've put like bios of my cats and things over there. I'm going to shortly be posting a list of all of the foundations that are in my bin for you guys to vote on which ones you want to see first. So check out the community page for that. And yeah, I appreciate you guys. Happy New Year. I hope your 2019 is off to an awesome start. And as I approach my 3-year anniversary here on YouTube, I'm just so grateful for you guys. And this has been such a blast, and I enjoy this so much. So thank you for being awesome. Thank you for hanging out in the comments with me. It is one of my favorite things to do every day. And I hope you all have an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.